find this a very relaxing and therapeutic way of working. I did used to wonder what the attraction was with adult colouring books, but once I started doing these, I can really understand it, because whilst you're actually doing the painting part of this, after you've completed the drawing, you're really just relaxing and filling in those colours like you would do in a colouring book. And whilst you're doing that, you're really not thinking about anything else that might be bothering you, that you might have on your mind. You kind of switch off and just get into the colouring. And I often use music as well. I have music on in the background when I'm painting. So the most difficult part of this is doing the drawing first. You'll see that I didn't do any preparation for this. I just set off and started drawing. So I had no plan at all. But you could be a little bit more planned with your drawing, and you might even want to start with doing a pencil drawing first. So what I did was I just wanted some spring flowers, and I was using the spring set of Viviva watercolours, and the spring set has some really bright, beautiful colours in. So because I was using the spring set, and because we're all feeling a little bit fed up with winter this year, it seems to have been a very long January, I thought we'd go with some spring flowers. And what I often do when I'm drawing is I just have my phone to the side of me, and I'll just Google something like tulip, and I won't copy what I find. I'll just get the rough shape and go from there, and just do something very simple, just to remind myself of the shapes of the different flowers, because obviously we've not got any in the garden at the moment. The only thing that's actually flowering at the moment in my garden are the snowdrops, which are doing really well and looking very pretty. So the paper that I'm using, the pad that I'm using here, is the A5 one that comes with the Viviva travel set, which is a nice paper to work on. And I'm using a Pitt pen, and you can see that's size 5. Sorry, I got muddled up there. It's not a Pitt pen, it's a Uni Pin Fine Liner. I will list everything down below, as I said. So I tried to use most of the colours. I think I used nearly every colour in the set that I've got there, and I used them straight from the pans there. I didn't mix them on the palette. Perhaps I should have done, because, and this is my fault, I actually, some of them had a little bit too much or too little water compared to others, because I was just using them straight off the pan and dipping my brush in between each one. So when I had to add extra, some of them aren't as even as others. Now you will see some are a lot more opaque than others, so it's worth doing a colour chart of these. We did do that in the first video when I was using these Viviva colours for the first time. I did a colour chart. Some of them are much more opaque, some of them are much easier to get a nice flat wash with than others. You can't really compare these to artist quality ones. Obviously you can tell that by the price. They're more of a student quality than an artist quality, but nevertheless they are really good fun to work with because of these super bright colours. So back to what I was saying about the adult colouring books, I think it's really good if we have hobbies. Obviously my painting hobby has become a career for me, so then I need other hobbies. So my hobby at the moment is doing a little bit of writing, and I go once a month to a writing class. And also I have hobbies like walking and gardening. And I can never really quite understand people who don't have hobbies, because I think you need that to switch off, to focus on something else, and to keep learning as well, and to keep your mind fresh and occupied. So like a colouring book, the whole page here is going to be coloured in. So I've taken the lines right to the edge. So you'll see what I did was I started by drawing the flowers just anywhere on the page. And then after I'd done the flowers and the leaves, I just put some joining lines in, some curved lines. And you may have seen me do this before in previous videos. Those of you that are regular to my channel, you might have seen me do this. So basically I'm just breaking up the page in between the flowers so that we can then go on and put some different colours on. And when it comes to putting the colours on, I try not to touch the same colour next to each other. And if you work around the page in this way, you'll see I keep turning my page around and going from one area to another. You're not going to have bleeds where the colours are going into each other, because by the time you come around to the other side of the page, those have almost dried anyway. So do allow it to dry in between. Like I say, I put some music on, I really relax, and it can take quite a long time to fill these in. So it's a really good way to unwind, just free your mind of everything else. So art really is good therapy. And I've seen quite often recently it advertised as that for teachers to learn about art and therapy and doing those together. It's something I did consider myself at one time maybe going into. Because when I've taught in the past, when I've had beginners lessons here in my studio, everybody seems to say the same thing, that whilst they're doing it, they're completely free of the other worries, and it's just a complete relaxation for them. So it might not be too relaxing for you if you're worried about the drawing in the first place, but of course you could always trace something, you can copy something, you can spend a little bit of time doing the drawing, and once you've got that solid drawing with your ink, the fun part is putting the colours on. Get them nice and bright, and like I say, try not to have the same colour next to each other so that you've got a lot of variety. Now I just put one wash on each area to begin with, and then afterwards the background colours, I left them just as the one flat colour, but the flowers and the leaves, in some places, just here and there, I put an extra layer on, either of the same colour to intensify it, or another colour just to make an extra secondary colour. So it just gives it a little bit more interest. And what I also did with this one, I mean, it's not perfect by any means, there's a few areas that I'm not too happy with. I actually lent my hand on it in one place and smudged, and I did try and lift that out, and to be honest with you, this paper, although I said previously I do really like this paper, it's nice to work on, but when I lifted it out it did damage the paper slightly, so it's not that robust a paper. But what I did when I'd finished was I took a nice clear photograph of it in plenty of good lighting, and then I messed about with it a little bit on Canva and intensified those colours, and then I made it into a sticker, and you might be able to see that below. It might not appear yet in my shop area. I've not really put too much in my shop area. It's something I'm not really sure what to put in there. If there's anything that you particularly want to see on a t-shirt, a sticker or mug, whether it's my artwork or whether it's perhaps some sayings, something about producing art, you know, all those kind of ones that you can see down there, let me know which ones you like and which ones you think that I should have in there. That'd be really helpful to me, so you could put that down in the comments. As I was saying, I don't know about you, but I feel this year that January has been very long. I usually don't mind winter. I quite like, I love going for wintry walks. If you get a nice crisp frosty day with the sun out, I like to go for a walk and get out and about. And I think that, you know, that is essential in winter really. And we've had that January where it's just rained and rained and rained, and it's been really quite, gets you down because you can't get out in the garden, you can't get out for a walk. So you've got to kind of motivate yourself. So doing something with these bright spring colours at this time of year can make you look ahead to the bulbs that are going to be coming up, because that's something I always look forward to. And like I say, the snowdrops are up, and then we've got a succession. We've got the crocus will be next, and then followed by your daffodils and obviously your bluebells and your tulips after that. So a lot to look forward to now that we've come out of that January and we're thinking about spring and everything coming up in the garden. I have been doing quite a few videos on flowers. You may have noticed on the shorts that I've been doing an A to Z of flowers. I'm up to about C or D now. I've not quite put them all up yet, but I'm going to carry on with that because I really do like drawing flowers. Although I don't do it in my own work, you know, the work that I sell myself in the galleries is all landscapes. I do like doing things like this, and because I'm really into my gardening and I love my garden flowers. So if you'd like to see more flower paintings, if there's a particular flower that you'd like to do that you maybe feel you need some help with, or if you just want me to talk in general about flower shapes and things, please do let me know that in the comments below. Also in the comments below, I'd really like to know what videos you prefer. Do you prefer me just doing flowers? Do you prefer me doing watercolour, or do you prefer other media? And also, would you like me to talk a little bit more about the flowers themselves? I used to have a garden centre. I can talk about, you know, garden hints and tips, things that you might have problems with in your garden that you might want advice on. So anything like that, if there is something you particularly want, do put it down in the comments below, because I do always read them. And I do try and answer them all as well. It's not always easy when you get so many and you're busy with other things, but I do really try and answer all my comments when I can. So a little bit about my garden. It's not very conventional because our house is in the farm, on the dairy farm, and it's in the middle of the farmyard more or less, or at the top of the farmyard. So I haven't got a conventional garden, if you like, in one area. I've got various little patches around different parts around the house, and then I've got an orchard behind. And that is on a slope, and I look out at it from the kitchen, and it's full of bulbs. We've just kept adding to them over the years. So the whole orchard is absolutely full of daffodils. So I really look forward to those coming up. because we've got so many different varieties, and usually the first ones to come up are the little ones, so the tay-to-tay and the other varieties of the smaller ones. One of my favourites ones is the pheasant daffodil, not tulip, with the white petals and the orange centre. So I've got hundreds and hundreds of daffodils, and because I'm quite a lazy gardener, they really appeal to me, the bulbs, because you put them in, forget about them, and you've got them year after year. So I have lots of things like lilies as well, and alliums, which are going to come up later in the spring. Alliums are one of my favourite bulbs. They're just so easy, as long as they're not kept too wet over winter. Our ground is really dry, it's really free draining, we're all on gravel, so in summer it can actually be too dry. Okay, so back to the painting now. There isn't really much more to say about that. Like I say, I've made this into a sticker, and you can see that below. Keep it nice and bright, have a bit of fun with it, and you could do the flowers just very much more abstract than I've done them. You can do them face on, just do some daisy shapes if you find that easiest, and put these curls behind and fill the whole page with colour. Like I say, relax while you're doing that. I'm sure there was something else I was going to tell you, but I can't remember. Just to say, this is, I think, about the 4th in my series of the Viviva colour ones that I'm doing as an ambassador for them. So they sent me a lot of products, the colour sheets and the travel set, etc., in exchange for me doing these videos. So I think this is number 4 of the 6. So we're on February, so I'll be doing March and April. But I will come back to using my other materials as well. I need to do something with my Derwent blocks because I love working with those, so we could perhaps do some flowers using those extra large, really colourful Derwent blocks as well. Okay, so enjoy the rest of the video. I think we're nearly getting towards the end of this, but do watch to the end, and I'll show you the final piece at the end there. And thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to comment below if you have anything at all that you'd like to ask, and I will see you again soon. In the meantime, really enjoy your own painting and drawing. Get some bright colours out as an antidote to the wet January that we've had, and looking forward to the spring ahead. Bye bye for now.